So I would love to say that, I'm one of those people who was always going to the cinema or to the theater. But as a child, or as a teenager, to be honest, I never did. I graduated in veterinary school and I was like, okay, I either start now being a vet or just give it a try. And I went to acting school and I got an acting agent, and it kind of turned out that was what my way in this industry. I think we just can make stuff. We should just create stuff and not being stopped by, we need a lot of money, we need XYZ, whatever. If we come up with a great idea, let's just film it and see what it turns out to be.
A lot of the times it feels like you are waiting for someone's permission. It's like someone would come and say, okay, now you can do what you want. Before that you had to do something else, but now it never comes.
I was like in this fairy tale way of like, oh, it's just being creative and, I can float on that thing, and then somebody discovers you and it's like, no. No, that's not the way it works. And that's not the way I want it to be.
Doing these little projects, it gives you just a little bit of power for yourself to be like, I created this.
Oh my God, now I want to go film.
Just do it and try it and fail and get up again and just do it different, like the next time. Learn from your mistakes, own them and be like, shit, I've done that. This was really not good, but it's my mistake. I'm gonna, do it different next time. I've learned something.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you and welcome to our podcast. It's Anke Sabrina Beermann. She's a talented actress, producer and writer. And she's also a founder of 2 production companies, one in London and one in Frankfurt. So I'll stop talking and I'll let you introduce yourself with all the details that you want to share with us today. And and I want to ask, how does this journey start for you? Where did it all come from? Your filmmaking journey, I mean, of course.
My filmmaking journey, first of all, thanks so much for having me. Thanks for the invite. My filmmaking journey. So I would love to say that, I'm one of those people who was always going to the cinema or to the theater or whatever. But as a child, or as a teenager, to be honest, I never did. I read a lot. I loved books. But I wasn't that person who, was into film or that much. So, after school, I actually went to veterinary school to study veterinary medicine. And that was in Munich. So I was just living a normal life, in this, I would always call it a wheel, because, they tell you exactly what to do and you have to learn so much. And it's just you don't...
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you've with your career as well, right?
Exactly.
We've heard a lot about that, in the first episode. So interesting too. But you're in this process and you know exactly what to do because people always constantly tell you what to do. But at one point I was very lucky because a neighbor of mine, he was a photographer. And he said, you know what, I think we should do some headshots. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, I think let's just give it a try. Let's do some headshots. And I was like, well, okay, good. Just let's do it. So we did that. And they actually turned out to be very, I think, good. And it was the first time I saw myself in that way. And so he said, you know what, I think you should, send those to some agencies, model agencies. I think you can, because I was a student, you always need money. So it was yeah, that's, why not, So I sent those to some model agencies in Munich, and they actually picked me up. They were like, yeah, we think you can do something here. So I started in this industry as a model, doing commercials. And it was so much fun, just being there, having a great time with everyone on set, and earning a lot of money. Because back in the days, you were getting paid quite
We're
well for
getting really well.
commercials.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
That time it was.
yeah. Um, and then again, I was very lucky because somebody else, like a photographer, again, like a different one, she was like, you know what, girl, I think you can do more. Let's just do some, some clips, some, where you introduce yourself and stuff like that. And I think you're more an actress than actually a model, because I'm not, I'm also not that tall, very slim person. It worked for the commercials, but she was like, I think you can do more. You should be an actress. So we did that. Thanks to her, we're still friends. And then I was like, okay, like I graduated in veterinary school, and I was like, okay, I either start now being a vet and like continue in this circle, or just give it a try and go to acting school. And that's what I did. I was just like, you know what, like I just give it a try, and if I fail, I fail. That's fine. But like, I just want to do something for myself. Because like I had the whole time the feeling when I was in veterinary school, I was doing it for, I don't know for whom, but it was like, it was not like because I wanted to actually do it. It was just like one exam after the other. And then I went to acting school and I got an acting agent, and it kind of turned out. And I found myself on set and at the greatest time with the crew. And so, yeah, that was what my way in this industry. So it wasn't in a way that I was like, oh, I'm so, I want to be an actress like the whole time. It was just like, thanks to a lot of people I met along the way. And because of the fact that I always had this wonderful time with like all the people on set, and I felt so comfortable, and like, and also the fact that, as an actor, you're not, how should I say that? I know that like many people will disagree with me, but I always feel that, we are only responsible for ourselves. We are not responsible for anyone else. I know that many people say that actors are like so,
influential, or
yeah, that they are, so strong people, and that they are vulnerable, and that they are not, afraid of anything. But for me, it's just like a very comfortable place to be in. And I see it in a way that I only have to take care of myself, and not about like that I don't have to care about anyone else. I mean, obviously, I have to be open to connect with the co-star and everything, but it's not like nobody is going to die if I mess it up. That's what I want to say, right?
You're not a doctor. That's the extreme between the worlds that you have there, is that if you, as a veterinary, you have an animal in your hand and it's their life, you are taking care of their life. And I think that's where you're coming from now. With acting, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yes.
And if something goes wrong, as you said, people will survive.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, So I understand what you are saying there. And also it's good when you are an actor on set that to really be able to hone that and focus on yourself, because then you can give the best performance.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about everything constantly around you all the time, then you're able to really hone in on your, co-stars and really dive really deep. So, but obviously I understand where it's coming from, because you're really coming from such an opposite world where there are lives at stake. And that is totally a different ball game as a doctor there, a veterinary doctor. That's the thing. Did you give yourself a time limit or something like that? As in like, I'm going to give this acting now, a year or something like that? Or were you, how to say it, did you always feel safe because you had, your doctors or the degree? Like, did you then feel safer and were like, no, I'm okay. I don't have to stress here because I have the veterinary one.
I think for me, it was always this safety net for sure. And I think that's something I can always recommend to young people starting out in the industry, because, you never know how it will turn out. 1 year you're super successful, you work a lot, you earn a lot of money. And the next year, you don't know why, but like all of a sudden there's nothing. And it has nothing to do with you. That's the next thing, right? Like it has nothing to do with you not being good enough or whatever. It's just the industry. So I think for me, I mean, I'm having this great position to be in. Like I know that now, but like 10 years ago when I was 25 and I wanted to go to acting school, it was a different thing, because like when I went to the state school in Berlin, they actually told me, you're way too old. When you finish here, you will be 30. Nobody wants to see you anymore. That's actually what they said.
Oh my God, you're 25
wow.
and they tell you that you're too old.
Yeah, I was 25 and they said, when you graduate here, you will be 30 and nobody wants to see you anymore. And I hated that so much, which actually gave me some fuel, to even be better. And I went to a private school and I paid for it myself and everything. But so it made me stronger, because I was like, I'm going to prove you, right? I'm going to prove this to you. But looking back, I must say they were not wrong with what they were saying, because I was very successful as in TV, as long as I was able to play those early 20 young girls. But then there was this switch, and all of a sudden there were not that many roles for me anymore. So, and looking, at TV shows and everything, it's very rare that we have this span of late 20s, early 30s for women.
Do you think it's at all changing in recent years, or do you think it's so slow that it's barely noticeable?
I think it is changing, because like so many women at one point, they were so, fed up with it. And I mean, look at those great examples like Reese Witherspoon and everyone who just like set up and were like, I'm going to create my own stories. I'm going to create, my own shows, my own films. I'm going to tell those amazing women-led films, which I found like so inspiring, and which was one of the reasons for me to actually start doing this. To be like, if there's not like something out there which I actually want to tell, then, let's do it ourselves, and just go out there.
So did you, when you felt that kind of everything slowing down, is that when you decided to, start with your production companies?
That was actually when, it was very slow. And the idea to make my first short film, which is called Stay Positive, actually came from my former acting agent. And she was, because like me and a friend of mine, he was also in this agency and he was in the same position. He didn't get like the roles he wanted to play. So she was like, I cannot listen to you guys, anymore, being all, like, I want to have another character to play and blah, blah, blah. She was like, then just do it yourself. I connect you now and, you just, go and make a little movie yourselves. And we were just like, well, okay, why not? So we were meeting over Zoom, or it was Skype by that time. So it was 2017, I think. Is anyone using Skype anymore? I don't know.
Not sure.
So we met online. And we were just like, what are we going to do? And he was like, yeah, I really want to do something with, a proper message. And like, he was like, I want to tell a story about HIV. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I mean, why not? Right. So we did a lot of research. I met a friend who actually has HIV. So we talked a lot, we did the research. And then it was just the two of us. We were going to Denmark. We had a lot of cameras with us, and we just did it. and it worked. For whatever, I'm still surprised when I'm watching it. I'm just like, for whatever reason, it worked out. It was just the two of us, two people
Wait a minute,
who
you didn't have no crew. Absolutely
no
no
crew, nothing.
But
It
you
was just the
said
two.
a lot of cameras, you said. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the thing was, we set it up in a way that we said, my character was the one having HIV, and she's recording when she is telling other people that she has having HIV. And so this was the whole setup. And that way I was able to actually have the camera in my hand and be like, talking directly into the camera. And I was like, this episode is about my boyfriend, Luke, who is being played by the other guy, right? And I'm going to tell him in the next couple of days. And the whole setup was that the two of them, like this couple, is going on a road trip together, and she's filming, their relationship prior. She's telling him, and then like how she tells him, and afterwards, how their relationship changed. Because for some people, that is actually quite a big deal, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so in that weird setup, it worked. And that's what I found so fascinating, or I still think it's very cool, because you actually, even like, especially these days, the camera, it's like all of us have like a very good camera, like in their hand, basically, like all the time with our mobile phones, right?
Yeah.
I think we just can make stuff. We should just create stuff and not being stopped by, we need a lot of money, we need X, Y, Z, whatever. If we come up with a great idea and make it work, I think that's something I still have to remind myself very often, and like look back at this film and be like, we did it, right? We did that. And it was like, that was 8 years ago. And we just, we weren't afraid, because we were like, we don't have to lose anything.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose. You're only
Yeah.
to gain.
And it was actually quite, it was nice. It played at a couple of festivals. The sound was surprisingly good. I'm still like, I was like, how did we do that? We were like filming a lot in his car. So we just put like a little microphone from top and like stuff like that. And, but it worked out. It was so much fun. We just had I think we went for like a week or something on this road trip, and we just had so much fun. And it turned out to be a great little film.
Oh my God, now I want to go. I want to go film. I'm
Yeah,
just
just,
like, I want to do this now. I'm like, this is just like, oh, please, can we have the link to the film?
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely share it with you.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
I think it shouldn't stop you, like not having the resources, because like, especially these days, we all have, what we need to make a film.
That's a powerful message, because a lot of the times it feels like you are waiting for someone's permission. It's like someone would come and say, okay, now you can do what you want. Before that, you had to do something else, but now it never comes. And I love that for you. You always say that you enjoyed it, that you had a good time, that it's a lot of fun. So that's very important, because this industry can do so many things to you in a different ways. So if you're not truly enjoying what you're doing, then it's probably not worth it. But that's amazing that that's your journey. And it seems like you always find the right people who are, either push you to do something that you're meant to do, or help you along the way. That is a great
I was very fortunate in that way. Yeah. And I think like doing these little projects, it gives you just a little bit of power, for yourself, to be like, I created this. Yeah. I didn't sit around, right? I did that. And so I love doing like those little projects once in a while. We actually did that again like last summer. we had a slightly bigger crew, but it was like the same thing. We were just a couple of film people coming together, and we were just like, this is the story. We're going to show it, right? Like, let's just film it and see what it turns out to be. And there was not like any money involved. It was just like this, this crew of like a couple of friends of mine, and we were just like, like we don't have anything to do, so just like let's create this little film and make it our message for like our audience. So
and to our beautiful audience, if you're listening or watching us here, take this in. Go out today and just start creating. There's nothing in your way. As Anke is saying, just go. This is beautiful, Anke. Thank you so much. I want to ask you then, because now I'm like, okay. First of all, I think I need to go.
I was like, I need
something.
to go and film something.
Yeah,
Sorry,
do
girls,
that.
Bye.
Please do.
We'll talk later. I think I need to go. But how do you balance then working as an actress? Because you are successful as an actress too, and producer, while managing 2 production companies. Like how, like that is that. I mean, just saying it, I'm like, wow, that is beautiful. At the same time, could be a lot. Sounds a little bit like could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So yeah, you're right. It is a lot. But the thing is, these 2 production companies, it is only myself. So I'm not responsible for, somebody else to pay their bills or something, right? So that's the thing which is very important to me because I couldn't do it like another way, because I don't want to be like, okay, if we don't take this project because we get a lot of money here, I cannot pay you or something. So obviously when it comes to a project I want to do with either this production company or the other, then I need people, right? Then I'm like, that I'm looking around and be like, what I always try to do is try to work with friends, because it takes the stress away, because you have the feeling, we are all in the same boat, and we want to bring it, we want to bring this project forward. And I don't want to do it another way, because for me, filmmaking is still fun, I want to bring a certain message out there, but it's always, the stress comes anyway. But like, as long as I have those people around me who are on my side, and I know they are not in there because of the money, obviously I want to pay them, like if it's not like one of these, we just go out with our cameras and run around and be like, we just do this for fun and for free. If it's a proper project, I want everyone to get paid. And that's like very important to me, but like also that I always try to take the people with me. So if they did me a favor with another project, like, or, worked with me on a smaller scale, then I always try to take them with me to the next project. So in that way, I think we are able to create our little bubble of people we can really rely on. And then it's more like a thing I do with my friends rather than I consider it to be work. So it's a positive kind of stress, I would say, because that's my, I don't know, hobby does sound a bit weird as a producer, but it's like, for me, that's what I like to do, because like I love all those meetings, having those conversations with actually people you really like, and then being on set and being like, we're actually going to have a great time. Obviously, there's always this time stress coming in, and like you might lack money for certain things or whatever, but like if you all are together in this, and if you just know that you can rely on those people and they know they can rely on you, because you don't want to I would never fuck somebody over before nobody. So I'm paying myself last. So I want everyone to get paid first, and then, you know, what's left. That's, you know, if something is left or whatever. So I do not consider, you know, producing as something, how should I say? Yes, stressful work wise. I want to because just it's about the people I choose, I guess, to work with. And I don't want to be in those positions, like in terms of you actually don't want to do a project with somebody and you just are in there for the money or something. Because I mean, if I just want to do it for the money, I can be a veterinarian, you know.
I'm just so impressed. In such a short time, you've told us how to make your own film, how to even be a producer and start your own production company. Like, it's like, and all with this ease and lightness and fun. And wow, I'm impressed. I really am. You're inspiring me, to be honest, because when I was thinking all this, like, you know, I do produce. A lot of times I'm thinking like, well, now I have to have an LLC and I have to like, and then I'm like, oh, that's too much. That's so heavy now at this moment. But that's not what you're doing. You're like, no, I am the production company. It's me. And then I will find the people and we will start creating this world together. And together we will rise. And we will then, you know, and I'm taking them with me. And I think that is beautiful. Like, thank you.
Thank you for putting this together in so, you know, it's such a short few sentences. Like, that was very good.
when you're listening, and please, I think you need to watch it anyways, Anke. You're just gorgeous and you glow. You're such a beautiful soul. Is that you're really showing us how easy and beautiful it can be. And
I think it should be that way, right? Because it is art. You know, I think there are two ways to look at this industry. One is you're in for the money making. And that's not the reason why I'm there because I want to create art. I want to create films which have a certain message. So people can see how I, you know, see the world. Let's be honest. That's the reason why we make films, right? Yeah. Because we want to show people what we see or how we would love the world to be. Yeah. And especially, you know, at the moment, when you look at the economy and everything, so much money is being cut, especially from culture. So I think we have to find our ways to still make art, but like, you know, maybe not being in there for the money part that much. Because I mean, I would love everyone to get paid, and that's still my goal with every project. But like the idea of getting out there of a film and being like, well, now my production company owns €1 million or whatever, I think that will not be the case for a very long time. So I think we have to rethink the way of filmmaking. Do we really know, like, do we really need all this huge equipment? Do we really need like all these huge locations? Do we really need like, you know, all this huge, you know, stuff, the studio or whatever? Or can we actually tell the story in a smaller way? And it's equally good. It's equally powerful, just because there were like so many people believing in it to be. So I think it's about, like, for me to come back to, you know, how can we tell amazing stories on a smaller scale?
Yeah, I think that's what at the heart of independent filmmaking is, to tell the story with minimal resources, to do it in a way that kind of shares your message with the world. And on this point, I'd like to ask you, because I can see that there is some sort of common theme within the films that you shared with us, your projects. There is some sort of message, like it's a social, it's something that is on the daily agenda probably. What is your message? What message do you want to to share with people? What is it for you? Do you have like one thing, or is it like really the story that resonates with you in a particular way at a particular time period?
I think the big thing with me and my two production companies is that I want to tell women-led stories. Like, I want to tell a female point of view. And like 50% of the people in front of the camera and behind the camera should be female. Because
Amen.
yeah, it's just, it's hard. And it is difficult, especially behind the camera. It is difficult to find those people.
Yeah.
Because they've been pushed down like for such a long time. And so I think if I have to come down to one topic or one thing, I think that's my main thing, to be like, okay, I want to tell stories from a female perspective, and it doesn't have to be about finding love all the time, doesn't have to be about like finding another guy or finding your father, or I don't know, a man in whatever kind of way, because I think there's like so much more about us, so many more stories to tell about women than just like those evolving around men.
Yes.
And like, if like
I'm just like, just go on, say it, whatever, talk.
Just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is, Eva. I mean, you're an actress too, and like mostly we get those parts where it's like either we're looking for love, like, or I was always, at least like in most, especially TV shows, I was always, like trying to find the love of my life, or like I had this father thing as well. Like, I don't know, all my characters try to, find their father, have a better relationship to their father. And I'm just like, I love my dad, right? Like, I don't have a problem. Why do people always expect me to have father
I want you
issues?
to have a father issue, okay?
Yeah, right.
I do have one, so you have to have one too.
Exactly. And I think, like, we're so much more complex, and we can tell so many more stories as women. And if we have like a screenwriter out there who's hearing this, like, please, get in contact, send me your script. I would love to read it.
Love it. And it
Because
doesn't
I'm
mean that the characters don't have a father issue. Girl, I can admit it. I have it. I know. But
Who
that's
doesn't?
just not just me. That's one layer
Exactly.
of everything.
Yeah.
It's one layer. And that's the thing. It's interesting when you have like layered characters, women characters, female characters.
Exactly.
Where you fully embrace all of it and you can live it, on screen, so that the other women out there and young girls can see like, oh, it's okay. Like, yeah, I can be strict, or I can be this, or I can be that, or I can be soft if I want to be soft, or you know what I mean? And I think that is beautiful. So can you tell us like what is like a film where you say that hit that note that you've done? Is there one particular one?
I think one of my favorites was The Draft. I think I sent you the link as well. It's about freedom of choice when it comes to motherhood. And I think the most intelligent thing about it is actually that we set it in a sci-fi genre. Because I love that so much, because it made other people who are not so much about women's rights, and rather fancy like the sci-fi genre, they watched it. Right? Yeah, because
like,
they didn't know. They didn't know what they were getting into, right? They were just like, oh, that looks cool. So it was like, it was before we shot that, before Barbie, but like Barbie is just like also such a good example, right? It has this powerful message,
Oh, I love it.
but
I'm
it's
sorry.
wrapped in this pink, bubble thingy, and you don't expect it. And people go in there because they want to be entertained, and they are entertained, but they also get this political message fed. And like the draft is similar to that. It looks glamorous. It looks, it looks so, like so much fun. And then it's kind of dark because it tackles on this very, like also for me, very personal theme of, that women always should have the choice about their own body.
Yes.
And they should be able to say no. And,
Yes.
it's not on somebody else to judge us for that.
No.
And it came out to a time where, this whole abortion right thing was going on in the US. And we were very fortunate because it was bought by an American streaming channel, Dust, which is a sci-fi channel. And everyone who wants to watch it, you can watch it on YouTube, because they put it on their YouTube channel as well. And I haven't checked it for a while, but like last time I checked, it had like 71,000 views or something.
Yes, it does. It's very beautiful. And we will have the link to that one in show notes, guys. You really have to see her work. It's beautiful. And see Anke
Thanks.
act. It's really something. So, yeah, no, that's beautiful. I think we need to talk about this just shortly. It just had nothing to do with filmmaking. And I am a mother, and I love it, and I would not want it any other way. But I want to say something. This is our body. And just because you're a woman, hell no, you do not have to have children. No, and if any other women, like, just to you women out there, don't say that to another woman, because that is the thing that we should support each other. We need to support each other. I'm not talking about men here. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about women that bash the other woman because they're like, oh, you don't want children? Okay.
Yeah.
What is that about? No. Like, don't do that. Like, support each other. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I have to have children. If it is there, the longing like I had, that's a totally different story. And I think for those that are out there that have children or don't understand why a woman doesn't want to have a child, I think what I want to say is, think about it the other way. Think about, you have this longing like we do when we want to have a kid, and then somebody comes to you and says, well, but you can't. You are not allowed to have children. Think about that from that point of view. And then maybe, just think twice before you take another woman down because she just feels differently and just knows this is at the moment and in this lifetime just not her path. And
Exactly.
I think we should celebrate that and celebrate every single woman out there. I'm just celebrating you girls, all of you. With children, without children, whatever it is. Yeah, sorry. I just needed to say that because I have friends that don't want to have, female friends that don't want to have children, and they're just getting, sorry, I have to say this is my podcast, so I can do that. Yay. They're just getting shit from other women. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's not. So thank you so much for that film.
Thanks. Yeah, that's the message, basically. It has to be our choice, right? Like, whatever we choose, it's our choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just in general, why other people have a say into something that you're choosing about yourself and your path. It just doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Thank you. But as I said, it seems that you have this yearning in you to tell the story, like from the perspective, okay, women, yes. But it's something that would resonate with the audience. And you also do so many different genres, like sci-fi, drama. And there is also the project that is currently, you're producing. Tell us maybe, about it. It's very interesting. It's called To Catch a Siren, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's about a young refugee searching for her mother, whom she believes to be a mermaid. That is just this one You know, short line. It's just mind blowing. This is so interesting. Please tell us about the
So
story.
I must say, I did came up with the line. The script was written by a very talented young man, Harvey John. What I'm very proud of is, so I came on this project as a second producer because of Rafaela Wagner. She's the director on it. And with her, I also did the draft. So I've already worked with her. And she told me about this project. And I was like, oh, that sounds very interesting. What I'm very proud of here was that this story was originally like a young boy who was looking for his mother. And all his friends are obviously also boys. And so we didn't have this my rule of 50-50, right? Like, or telling like a story from a female perspective. So it was like, listen, guys, I love this story. And I think it's very important to tell, and I'm gonna support you either way. But can we just think about making this a girl? Because we have so many films out there being told from the perspective of a young boy, you know, think of Slumdog Millionaire or, you know, The Life of Pi. It's always, you know, we already have this picture in our head. Why don't we do something different? And it took a while, but, you know, we actually changed it. So now it is told like from a perspective of a young girl looking for her mother. And what I also found very interesting, I hope Harvey isn't going to be cross with me when I say it, but like, so we rewrote it. Another co-writer also came on board, also female. And she kind of changed the script in a way she thought young girls would act. And then I read it and I was like, you know, the thing is, why do you expect a girl to act so different than a boy?
Thank you for saying that. I was just about to say that at that age it won't matter even.
Exactly. And I was like, you know, that it is, this script was so great. It did win the Shore Script Fund. So like, it was very successful as well. And I was like, you know, just because it is a girl now, it doesn't change her actions. We are, you know, like, especially at the age of like, you know, 8, 9 years, we can be as brave as boys. You know, I don't know if you guys know this amazing, I don't know what kind of commercial it is. Run Like a Girl.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
So
And that was exactly, I was sending them this. And I was like, you know, this is exactly what you did. You expect girls to act differently, but we are not different. Not at this age when society didn't come in, you know, and tell us how to behave.
yeah, but can I ask you just shortly? That was a woman writing it.
Yeah.
See, that's the
It
thing.
always
what happens.
happens.
Yeah.
We are so
And
brainwashed ourselves
exactly.
that we fall into that trap. Thank you. Please continue. I just wanted to.
So I was like, you know, guys, just let's just change the names and let's keep it as it was, because the story itself is beautiful. And these are just kids, you know, and let's just be them the way they've been, you know, like how Harvey written them so beautifully. So yeah, we got back to the original script, just changed basically the names, and I think it works so great. And so that was at the beginning of last year, 2024. And that was the same time I set up my production company in Germany, in Frankfurt. And I was like, you know, I think we should really send this to our government fund, you know, the regional fund we have. It was my first time I actually, you know, got money from them for a project. And it's my first time now to be supported by this regional funding system, and to yeah, to have to do all this paperwork, which is kind of insane, especially as an independent filmmaker who never went to, film school. I don't know if they teach you that in film school, maybe not, but
No.
like, so for me, it's the first time of, doing all those crazy, forms and everything, all those people calling me and asking me stuff. And I'm just like, okay, good. Let's see. For me, it's like basically a huge learning lesson.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for this. But yeah, that's how basically the Germans came into this beautiful little To Catch a Siren film. And now we have this UK-German co-production, which I'm very proud of. And we will film in April in Cornwall, and then we will go and take it like after the cut and everything, which will still be done in the UK, and then we take it for post-production to Germany and finish it there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of months.
Wow, this is very exciting. As a self-taught producer myself, like you, where I'm learning, guys, I don't know everything. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm just learning as I take the steps and the next step, and I'm like, okay. Did you just research the funding and go like, okay, where are the possibilities? Or did someone point it out to you? How did that come about or did you reach out to as many as possible? Just like, okay, I'm gonna, how did you do that?
So for me with this one, it was very specific because I set up my production company in Frankfurt, where I'm now based in Germany. It's basically the city where I'm born at, and like I come from there. So it was very interesting to to go back there as well after so many years, because I left when I was 19 and came back, like many years later. So and so I was like, okay, the regional fund there, Hessen Film, it is called, they are very supportive, and they talk you through everything, and they are very supportive of independent filmmakers and like people who want to grow. And because the region itself, I think it wouldn't be considered as the film region in Germany. Obviously they have Berlin or Munich or Cologne, but like Hessen, where Frankfurt is, it's not it's not film industry region. So they are like very supportive of their people, and they talked me through like all the steps, and it was just very, very helpful. So, and they were like very fond of the project. Like from the beginning, she was like, "Oh my God, like this is a great story. We really want to tell it," because it tackles, on the refugee crisis, and in such a beautiful way. Because it has also this fantasy element with the mermaid, and still a very strong political message, which comes, again, similar to The Draft or similar to Barbie, when we think about that, because it is a film you can watch and be like, oh, that's a beautiful story. And I really hope that children will watch it that way. They will be like, oh, that's a beautiful, nice story. But like for adults, it will have that strong political message where you're like, oh, shit, if you think twice, it's like, ooh, it hits hard. So they were just like very supportive, and I knew that I wanted to go for this fund, and I'm very, very lucky we got it, and very happy that we did. And on the UK side, which also is run mainly by Harvey, who wrote the script as well, he's also a producer. He was just very successful in getting private investors on board. He's so good in just talking to people and talking to huge companies and getting money and making them being as excited as we are about this project. I don't know how he does it. So really, I'm so, yeah, I think it's so impressive how he's able to, to sell the story and to get like so many people on board, also like in a financial way.
Yeah, particularly the private sector, which isn't so
Yeah.
easy to get into.
Yeah.
That's really bravo.
So with the draft, we were also very lucky and had a lot of, private funding. We didn't get like any government public money from that. But so this was also mainly privately funded, which was also great, and we were like very fortunate to have like those great executive producers who just came on board and gave us the money to do it because they loved the message. And I think it works like a lot better on the UK, and also because the UK works similar to the US, doesn't it? In that filmmaking kind of way. People are more used to invest in movies. Here in Germany, we have a different system. It's all very based on those public funding things, I don't know how it is in your countries. How it works, if you also have those really cool like public funding system things, but it's always like you have to go through a jury or something, right? Like they select your project. If they like it, it's great. If they don't, they don't.
They don't. And then there's one that finally says yes. Then the others like it starts, but it's kind of like getting that one yes.
Yeah.
And then the ball starts rolling. That is true. If you're stuck in if it's the governmental ones.
Yeah.
No, that's a different ball game. It's an interesting one. Maybe we could talk about that because that's really interesting. So, if you know about that more, like in Germany, like, do they want you to have more funding bodies, German funding bodies, to then say yes to you and fund you, or how is that?
So with To Catch a Siren, because it is a short film, they expect you to have a certain amount of money coming from another, not another funding body. It doesn't have to be, but like that you somehow raised more money in a different way. It's a certain percentage. I think it was like 5% or something. So it wasn't that much. And then they will come in, or not, if they, depending on if they like the project. Like I haven't done that with like bigger films yet. What happens with features. But I expect that you actually need like a couple of more, governmental funds to actually secure the money you need, because nobody will be like
risks.
Exactly, and nobody will be like, this is a feature film and I will give you 2 million, here you go, unless
if
you're
out there and you have 2 million and you want to give it away.
unless you already have a very big name, then they might, well, that's a different ball game then.
But that makes sense. That is it's show business. And for so long, I was like in this fairy tale way of like, oh, it's just being creative and, I can float on that thing. And then somebody discovers you and it's like, no, no, that's not the way it works. And that's not the way I want it to be. You want to be empowered. You want to do, that's the beauty of it. If you're empowered in this industry and you're taking the steps yourself. But it is a business. And if I think about it from the other side and I am financing, I think for me, it'll be two ways of seeing it. Obviously, first, is it a strong message that is important to me? And then I'm fine if it doesn't bring any money in, because it's not about that. It's about the piece and the message itself. And that's what your films do. You have that. It's really strong. And then the second one would be, okay, let's do the blockbuster thing like in this, like in America, where you're like, oh, there's a lot of money going to come back in if you have the names and if you have the stars and all of that.
Yeah.
I kind of like, obviously, it's good to earn money, and it's nothing against that. it would be the beauty of combining those two. And that's what Barbie, for example, we've been talking about, did.
Yeah.
And that's what's fucking sexy, you guys.
It is, isn't it? I was like, when I saw this
Sexy.
film, I was like, oh my God, it's so smart.
Yeah.
It's just so smart. Because the message is always what we want to get out there, right? But like when the whole film already screams that message, you will always get people to watch it who are already, you know, on the same side.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm making a film about rape, I don't only need the women watching it. I need the men to watch it.
Yes.
So how can I make that happen? And I think that's the most challenging part. Because I mean, the women know how it's like, and they, also, I want to reach women and empower them and everything. But it would be, in my opinion, I think it would be so much more powerful if I can actually reach the men.
Yes.
And change their view on those things.
Yes.
Yes. I think there is no division here because we are, as a human race, like, of course, some issues are more dear to hearts of women, some are because of the social conditioning and also like the bodies that we are born into. But at the same time, we share the same world and we do have the same, kind of things to deal with. And it's only like, from my perspective, I agree with you. It's only fair to have like a message that kind of reaches both, like all people. Doesn't matter the gender, doesn't matter anything. And then they can kind of get educated or even like get curious, start thinking, maybe opening their perspective on things and understanding that there is more to learn.
Exactly.
And yes, and you're definitely doing it with your projects. But I want to ask you, like I also want to mention actually the names of your company because we never did. We're obviously going to put it into the into the description. But it's Mary Productions in London and M&H Productions in Frankfurt.
Exactly.
Right, and the one in London is the one in Frankfurt is the recent one. Or which one is the recent one? It is
The
in
new
Germany.
one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to continue on that topic because to me this is very empowering that you're actually a self-taught producer. So how does this journey for you begin? Like, where did you start? Did you research it a lot? Did you talk to people? Did you go to networking events? Did you do all at once? And what are the major lessons that you, or maybe like first that you can share with people who wants to start on that journey, but it maybe is very intimidating because you never know where to start and it seems like so overwhelming, so many issues to deal with. I know that like finding the right people is the big one for you, but what else?
So I mean, first of all, there's like so much things you can find on the internet these days, like so much knowledge. People also love to talk, like in those, for example, podcasts. I think you learn so much by listening to people. If you don't have the opportunity to go to, like events in terms of, talks where people, I love those talks where successful producers actually, for example, share their failings, because you can learn so much from their mistakes. The first projects I did, despite the Stay Positive, like the HIV one I told you about, were co-productions. So I went in with somebody who had more knowledge than I have and learned. Then also in the UK, we have that great thing of shadowing, where you can just, basically ask somebody and be like, I really would love to learn what you're doing. Can I just come in for a week or two and just like watch how you do it? And these things are so valuable. And then I think also, just just do it and try it and fail and get up again and just like do it different, like the next time. Learn from your mistakes, own them, and be like, shit, I've done that. Like, this was really not good, but like, it's my mistake. I'm gonna, do it different next time. I've learned something. It's shitty if it's other people's money, but like, especially when it comes to short films. And that's what I would suggest starting out with, right? Like, do your short films, learn from them, and then like go to your feature and actually have like a lot of money. With your short films, I'm always honest, like with everyone. I'll be like, this is what you get, like everyone gets the same pay. To the investors, I'm always like, it is a short film. The possibility that you will get your money back. Ooh. I don't think so. But you have to know that, because I cannot, like, not being honest to those people, will, first of all, put such a huge pressure on yourself, because you always will have this fear of being like, oh God, I have to pay those people back. And then also, when you're honest and you just tell them how it is from the start, and they are still in there with you, what should go wrong?
That is beautiful then. And again, that's them investing in this piece of art and this message. It's like owning a painting, or it's like, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I see it then like. So that's beautiful, yeah.
And as I said, just start small. Make your mistakes. Just, and if you're in there with like the right people, which I always, recommend, you will all learn and you will rise together, and like next time you do it differently.
I would like to ask you then now, is there a mistake that you can tell us about, or we can learn from you?
Well, the most recent one was actually with this little short film called Love Letter to a Tree, which we also shot with, basically no money. We had an insurance and everything, because that's something I want to have, for my crew and for the equipment, to have an insurance. That's the only thing I'm like, that has to be there, and food and coffee. But like,
Food.
when I asked people to, to come on board for free, basically, and just, and for me, it's also very important when we do something like that, everyone, it's not like I'm owning the film. That's what I also wanted to say, which is very important to me. It's not my film. It's like everyone has a piece, it's like, it's equally split. Like everyone owns the same amount of this film. So it's our film. It's not like I'm the producer.
Okay, when you say, just shortly, when you say everyone, do you mean everyone? Like the actors, the
everyone.
The crew, everyone is equal?
Everyone is equal. When money comes in, we split it equally.
Equally?
Everyone. Equally. Everyone.
Can I join your world? Can I be a part of your world?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Wow, that is okay. Sorry, please go on. Gee.
Because I think you cannot do a film without a runner. You can't.
No.
You can't. No. You cannot do a film without a boomer. It's not possible. So we all, we are all in this together, and like each of us is equally important to do this film.
It's a beautiful philosophy.
But coming back to our mistake.
Yes, please.
Or maybe, I don't know if it was a mistake, because it wasn't planned. But the thing was, we wanted to film with a like very, very small crew, like very limited. We had a wonderful DOP attached, and she was also very ambitious about it. And she was like, I'm just gonna, go in there by myself, handheld. It's all going to be fine. I don't need anyone else, because we were also a little bit restricted because of the location, because we needed a tree. And so we called the city. We were like, yeah, we really would love to film there. We are a small crew. It's no money involved and everything. It was quite difficult to find a right tree and like to get this permit to actually do it. So, and they were like, well, you're not allowed to have like more than 5 people, I think, on set.
Yeah. Same here.
You know. So the DOP was like, well, yeah, no problem. I'm going to do this by myself. And I was like, well, you rock, all great. The issue with this was that at the day, in the morning, I think it was 6:30 or something, I was just picking up the other actress because she's in her 80s, I think. So we were in the car, and the partner from the DOP called, and he was like, I'm so sorry, but she cannot come. She's very sick.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, shit. And the thing was, we only had the permit for this day. Also, the other actress was going on holiday the next day. So we were like, we have to do it on this day. So I came to set where we wanted to meet, and I spoke to my friend, like, who was directing it. It was also her first time, like, directing fiction. And I was like, what do? We do not have a DOP. We didn't have any backup. Because we didn't go for, somebody like an assistant camera person, like nobody. I had the camera with me. It was in my car. I was looking at it. So like, I don't have a clue how to turn that on.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Honestly, because it was like a proper, Panasonic, whatever.
It's not an iPhone.
It's not an iPhone.
Camera, yeah. I would use it.
And I was like, shit, what are we going to do? And the other actress was already, maybe I go home then. I was like, no, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
You're not allowed.
We are going to do this, right? So what we did was we actually, coming back to what I said earlier, we took our iPhone.
Oh, my God.
And because it was 7 a.m. in the morning, right? Like, it was a Sunday too. So, like, everyone I knew was asleep, obviously. So I couldn't, just like call somebody and be like, can you operate this camera? So I just sent like crazy amounts of text, like reaching everyone I could possibly think of who could turn the camera on. But until then, we were just like, okay, we use the time. We just take the iPhone and get like as many shots from the other actress who was leaving the next day. Just as many as possible. So we just basically shot all her scenes on the iPhone until at 11, a friend of mine actually woke up and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know what we are doing, but if you could come and rescue us and operate this camera so we can get a couple of other shots with her, using the proper camera. Because especially for the wides and everything, it would have been better to, to have a proper camera and not just like the iPhone. But yeah, so he came and we used the rest of the day to just, make her scenes, make her shots with the proper camera, some of them again. And we had to come in we had to get another permit again, get in there for me, another day. And instead of just shooting one day, we ended up, I think, having 4 days or something, because then the weather was crazy and whatever. But I think this was something where I was like, this I will never do again. Just having one person for a job that I wouldn't be able to do.
Got it.
Like having, because people get sick.
Yes. Of
course. They, it happens. And it was just, and being also like, what I also learned from that is being flexible, just being like, okay, we shoot it with an iPhone. That's it. So we have, and at the end of the day, we have this little film. It's 9 minutes long. We have 3 different cameras. We have the iPhone, we have the Panasonic, and we have a drone. And thanks to another friend of mine, we were actually able to match it, because he has this crazy program and he was able to, to get it to the same rate and whatever, and make the iPhone footage so much better with an AI supported tool he has. So it was actually 4K at the end of the day, although we used upscaled it, although we used the cinematic mode on the iPhone, which is lower, but he was able to upscale it to 4K. And so I think this was just like, I was like, I'm so happy that this is a short film, you know, because I learned that now that like I want to have like 2 people for each department, unless I would be able to do it myself, right?
Yeah.
But it turned out to be very beautiful. And the short film, we are nominated for an award. It's called Blaue Blume Award, which is a German romantic short film award, which will happen at the beginning of Berlinale. So I really hope we win one of the awards we're nominated for. I think it's Best Film, Best Director, 2 times Best Actress, which is amazing. And if we win it, you know, we actually get some money and I can pay like everyone. Everyone gets the same amount, as I said earlier. But yeah, I think this was again, like a huge learning lesson for me to be like, okay, yeah, next time, 2 people for each department. Yeah.
That you.
This is a huge learning curve. But I'm learning a lot about production right now, and to me it seems like wizardry. So the people who are doing production management, you know, the accountants, people who do the budgeting, especially for big like feature length film, cover sets, the amount of planning that they have to go, like to understand what can happen potentially, you know, all this risk management. It's just pure wizardry. But I think like you can only learn something like that through other people or your personal experience, because there isn't any textbook or, you know, any resource that can teach all of it. Also because different sets, different people, different things can go wrong. Like you could plan for one thing to go wrong, but there are dozens and dozens of hours to do that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your mindset, because you do have a very healthy approach to things, as we can see, and you're a very positive person, and it comes from a pure place, you know. It's not because sometimes people are, you know, toxic positive, but it seems very authentic to you. So I'd like to ask you, what are your practices? What are your things, little, I don't know, maybe rituals that you do to stay grounded, to stay kind of on the positive side of things, if there are any?
Well, thanks. First of all. Second, I think COVID really changed me in a way I didn't expect it to, because when COVID hit, I was in the UK, I was in London. And I remembered it was the 19th of March, and I wanted to, oh, now the sun is coming out. Oh, that's beautiful, sun in January.
Gorgeous.
It was the 19th of March because I actually wanted to go back to Cologne to my partner who was living in Cologne, and I was in London, and I wanted to go back for my birthday. And and when we were in London, you know, everyone was just like, you know, that's this weird virus in China, you know, you just keep on working, you know, like, you know, like we behave in the UK, and like how London works, you know, you just keep on working. It's nothing. But I had booked the flight, and all of a sudden, like 2 days before, it was cancelled, and it was just like, what happened? So why is this? Why? Well, so I booked another one. Also, 2 hours later, got cancelled. It was like, well, that's so odd. I spoke to my agent, which who was in Germany, and she was like, you know, I think you really should come back. I don't know what that is, but like it's weird. Like, try to get back, girl. And they was like, okay. So I actually ended up, you know, like sitting at Heathrow Airport and was just like looking which kind of flight was going to Germany, wherever, or like even on the mainland. I was like, I want to leave this island. I was so afraid and everything. So I actually managed, due to a friend of mine who's working for British Airways, and he was able to put me on one of the flights. So I was able to leave the UK, and then I was stuck in Germany. I had to pay, this flat in London, which is never fun, even if you live in it. But but if you don't live in it and you still have to pay it, it was horrible for me. And then like all those jobs gone, like the whole summer, I was like, where, what should I do? I don't have any money anymore. Like how should I provide, living? I mean, I was lucky to stay with my partner, but like I still had to pay this flat. And this is where my safety net came in, the veterinary stuff. And I was like, I cannot, like this industry like knocked me down so hard, and like, nobody is helping me. I'm alone, like everyone, I guess like many people felt this way, right? And I was like, well, you know what, I'm gonna do my doctoral thesis. I think now it's the time to do this and to get back on my feet and just take care of myself and just maybe be part of this wheel like for some time. But I didn't have the strength to be like, I know there were like many people who were like, well, I'm going to do a movie now, or I'm going to use all this, these feelings of being afraid and whatever, and we are going to create art. But I felt like I cannot, I wasn't able to move properly anymore. So I was like, well, you know what, I think it's time to jump back on this wheel and be supported by this thing, and earning money every month, and like being just like in this system for a while until things recover. And that's what I did. So I completely, like 2020, yeah, I just completely took me out. And I was like, I'm gonna jump on this veterinary science thing and just like do it for a while, and then see how I can recover and take care of myself. And I think that's something which always, or which taught me that I can, provide for myself. And I think like if you see this industry, or if you see filmmaking as an actor or as a director or as a producer, whatever, as a piece of art and as something we want to create, but we don't, like we have to because we want to bring it out, but nobody is pressuring you. Nobody is, torturing you to do this. And for me, this whole experience with COVID was like, okay, there's a different world out there. There will always be, especially looking at the economy at the moment, there are like so many jobs. Everyone is looking for people to work. Like, I don't know how it is in your countries, but like here in Germany, like when you go outside, like in every shop, they are looking for people to work. So there's always a chance, a different way to provide yourself. And for me, that's like the most important thing, that, like there will always be possibilities to earn money, like in a different way, and to get enough money to put a roof over your head and to get enough food or whatever. It is also okay to do this, just because you're still an actor, you're still a director, you're still a producer. But it is okay to do something different to provide for yourself. And to have this security really changed me, to be like, okay, I don't want to be that tortured artist who is like, sitting here and cannot, pay the bills, and it's just like in a very unhealthy situation. There's so many possibilities out there in this world. You can change your life every day. You can always say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm doing something different. Especially I think when I'm on my own, I don't have kids. I think when you do have kids, it's still like the pressure is even higher, and being being aware that, you kind of, have to put food on the table every day and be there for the people who rely on you. And then being able to say, there are so many possibilities out there to earn money. Just, be aware of that and don't be like, this is the only thing I can do. It's not. It's not. It's important that we do it. It's important for us mainly to, to survive in a certain way, I would say, to create this art. But there's no shame in just doing something else to get money.
Thank you so much. I think a lot of us needed to hear that. It's beautiful. And the thing is, because as artists, it's like many times I've wanted to quit. Many times I questioned it. Many times I was like, why am I doing this? Can I just... And there's something inside of us, I think, that if it's there, it just you can't let it. You can't go like, okay, I'm just going to put it on the side. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a part of you. It's a part of who you are, and there's something inside of you. It's like, I don't know. It's like soul food, something you need. At the same time, you saying this, and you yourself taking those steps and saying, I'm not gonna be the victim of my own creativity in a sense of like I have to suffer. But that you're saying, no, I'm taking it in my own hands and I'm going to empower it in an empowered way, say, I can do something else and do art. And if anything, it is giving you more to write about. It is giving you more because you're out there. You are living something else. You are, meeting, like if as a veterinarian, for example, as a doctor there, that you're meeting all these human beings that come with their, their babies. These are animals. I know you guys, but I have a dog. It's your baby. I have babies and I have a dog. And it is also your baby. And it's just having then those, encounters. Mm-hmm. And it will fulfill you as an artist and give you even more to work with. And
exactly.
So I think, thank you. That is so beautiful. Can I keep you?
Yes, please let's keep in contact for sure. Yeah.
We're like, well, there, we need to keep her somewhere. Just like,
yeah. I mean, we are looking for a producer for our podcast.
Just saying. We really are looking for a producer. That is true. Cool. So we definitely need to talk there.
Yes, please.
The way you produce, the projects you choose, the way you do art, your acting. I mean, we haven't talked about that a lot, but you will see her in the films that she produces that you're acting in them too. You have the leading roles in it, or at least supporting. And it's very, very, it's mesmerizing seeing you on screen. There's something like, if you're listening to this, please, please, please go on YouTube and see us. Look at Anke. There's this energy. Later. Yeah, there's this energy that is just, one can feel, and it's beautiful, powerful. So thank you.
Thank you.
This has been amazing. Wow. I'm just like, okay. Thank you so much for your precious time and
thank you.
Being so open and vulnerable. And there's so much that I have learned just in this short time listening to you. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invite. I think it's so cool you're doing this podcast. I'm really looking forward to listen to all the other episodes which are online. I didn't because I didn't want to know,
I didn't want to spoil the experience.
I know. I was like, I don't want to know what other people answered or how it works.
It's interesting. You're not the first one to say that they were like, I'd rather not watch it before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were like, no, I'd rather just come and be, open-minded and just be myself, which is really what we want. And then they're like, and then I'm going to watch it. I'll go back and
but come to think of it, every single episode we did, they were not like, I wouldn't say there is even obviously there is a common thread. It's us doing this.
Filmmaking.
But every conversation is really unique. So
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for joining us today. It was a beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much.
You got us inspired, definitely, in many ways. Because also what I wanted to point out, Sometimes when you push yourself to do a project that you probably are not ready, that, you're overthinking it or something, and then you do it, and you always have it somewhere in your vault that you can just look back and kind of draw from that experience and empower yourself, because this is what is, I think, like the best lesson that I learned last year. It's like you have to empower yourself. Yes, you can look up to other people, you can listen to them, you can, learn from them. But if you cannot, say, I did that. That was maybe there were mistakes, but that was something that was meaningful. I put a lot of heart and I put a lot of soul into it. And here it is. This is like a tangible little thing. I can look back and see that this is something that I can recreate again. And that's exactly what you told us about your projects and how you treat them, and that you have a certain ownership and you're proud of them. And this is what's important for the artist, to be proud of what they're doing. So thank you for sharing this message with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And I want to ask before when we stop, is that for those listening or watching, how can they reach out to you? What's the best way to reach out to you? We will, as I said, put everything with Anke Sabrina Beermann. We'll put everything in the show notes. Also, please look at our project. Also, how is the best way? What would be the best way to reach out to you?
I think we put my website down there as well. So there's an email on the website, on the contact side. So you can just send me an email. I think that's the best way.
Okay.
Or Instagram, but yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to work with Anke as an actor, as I said, fantastic actress, very, very talented.
Thank you.
As a producer, the same thing. You could hear that listening to us and listening to her, that full of love, respect, and just this equality, and this that everyone is equally important, no matter what your role is. Send her an email. Definitely reach out to her.
Thank you.